George Kilpatrick Inspiration for the Nation at the Financial Empowerment Convention with Ryan Williams, CEO, President, Founder, RAW Consulting. You just jumped.
Yeah.
You took the leap.
Yes.
Talk to me about the decision to leave somewhat, right, and jump out here and be on your own.
Yeah, George. So first of all, amazing summit, amazing convention. I'm grateful to be here. But Ryan Williams and I left and took the full-time leap to entrepreneurship 6 months ago.
Okay.
And I am so thankful to be in this place today because of the resources I was able to connect with. But so Raw Consulting, we work with social impact leader in organizations with strategic support, capacity building, and ecosystem connections to build meaningful change. And really, I took the leap because of an amazing opportunity with the Economic Development Administration, where I'm able to drive economic development across Buffalo, Rochester, and Syracuse. So my focus is how do I empower the organizations that support our entrepreneurs? And then I realized I was an entrepreneur that needed to support himself. So, today I really connected with a lot of ESO partners, entrepreneur support organizations that I'm really looking forward to connecting with my own business.
So what did you need to get today?
Man, I think the most meaningful thing today was definitely the workshops, but more so the connections and the conversations that took place. So one of the sessions was around economic development and revitalization. But what I really took from that conversation is there's a desire to have more intentional convenings about how we come together to support our community. And I think historically there was always this notion of silos and silos existing in our community. But what today showed me is that silos are not intentional. It's just, is there a space that's created for conversations to start? And so already from today, some great action groups are forming. And we already got dates in the calendar where we're going to meet cross-generational and say, hey, what can we do collectively to break those silos and address some of the things that really matter in our community?
The thing you mentioned was cross-generational. So what do you mean by that? I know what I heard in that statement, but what did you mean by that?
So, looking up to individuals like yourself, and others in the space, there's this growing generation of young entrepreneurs in Syracuse and upstate New York in general, but you guys steward the way. And so you understand the historical context way more than we do. And I think combining this up-and-coming talent with the experience, wisdom, and insights that you guys have, that's the way that we create that change, right?
And making space and making room for that talent and not being intimidated.
Absolutely.
Right? That's a thing, because we got to get out of the way. But also not necessarily get out of the way, work together. Now you made and you chose Syracuse. As a Syracuse University graduate from Brooklyn, New York.
Brooklyn, New York,
Why did you choose Syracuse?
When I went to SU, one thing I'll say is that with me today were 10 SU students. And so when I attended SU, it was really apparent to me how these large institutions oftentimes are not connected to the communities that they exist in. And so it really ignited in me a passion of building that bridge between SU and the community. And in a way that I think can happen a lot more organically and sustainably than it can in a huge population city like New York City. So for me, the community here, it's organic, it's real, it's sustainable, and it's growing. And I feel like I can play a vital role in making sure that those connections continue from the university and beyond into the community.
But you've had an entrepreneurial mindset working for another entrepreneur. You formerly with Good Life Youth Foundation, working with Hassan, and you were the COO?
COO.
Right. So you've been in the game for a minute, using those skills within an organization. Talk to me about that, having an entrepreneurial mindset within an organization, working with another entrepreneur.
Yeah, so Good Life Youth Foundation, amazing organization locally. And actually even before that, when I was a college student, my first exposure to entrepreneurship was a Blackstone Launchpad at Syracuse University. And it was with a company that I became co-founder of called Collective. Now, I had no idea what entrepreneurship was. I understood hustle mentality, but it was so weird, George. It was a pitch competition. And in 5 minutes, we went up, told our story, the change we wanted to create, and we walked away with $20,000 to grow our business. And for me, I was so confused because I thought I went to get a 4-year degree to make that kind of money. And so for me, entrepreneurship, it's a way to break the cycle of traditional avenues of attaining money. And oftentimes these avenues are not accessible to individuals like myself or where I come from. And so I think entrepreneurship is the way to kind of break the cycle of poverty, which was big at Good Life, right? And so I think that's where the mindset comes from.
Say something about how someone might relate to where you came from, and how whatever that background was can also help them in the way they think about the work that they're doing if they aspire to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah, I think it's two things, right? I tell youth entrepreneurs all the time, your story is your biggest asset, right? Especially when you are pitching your business. People want to see that you really care and that you have the lived experience. And oftentimes what I see is that entrepreneurs are normally starting a business to address something they themselves experienced. And for me, that was and actually a positive light. I grew up in an impoverished community, but it was because I was exposed to mentors at a very early age that pulled me up and kept passing that mantle on that I'm able to be where I am today, right? And so I always, it's my goal to make sure that I continue doing the same. So yeah, I would say your story is your most important asset. Own it, all parts of it. There is no good and bad in it. There's value in your story for everybody. And I would say the second thing is when you come from the inner city, you have that kind of survival mentality, right? And I think that for an entrepreneur, that's one of the biggest skill sets you can have, because when you're starting out, it can be tough, right?
Yeah.
But when you have that community plus that survival mentality, that hustle mentality, man, there's nothing that you can't do.
Oh, so everybody wants to know what's your story.
Oh, my story. Okay. So grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and I knew at an early age that I didn't want to do a lot of the things that I saw in my community. And so when high school came, I actually had an opportunity to partake in something called a Better Chance program. And it was a program in New York City that took high-performing inner city kids in the middle schools, and they put us in these collegiate preparatory boarding schools.
Right,
Yeah. So I actually went away to high school where I was about one of 15 Black students.
In a school of how many?
About 500.
Okay.
Very, very small class size, but these are students with private jets and all a lifestyle I've never seen. But it taught me the importance of exposure and how important it is to increase that lens that I'm looking at the world through. And so from there, I went on to Syracuse University to study public health and food studies. But really the passion that came about from public health, from entrepreneurship, was the systems that we live in and the role that we can play in addressing those system inequities that come about, right? So, and I think to do that, you have to be able to step into multiple worlds and not just your own, right? So that's a little bit of my story.
A little bit. Yeah. All right, so you got something coming up you want us to know about.
Yes, so one of the things I'm really excited about is some ecosystem connectivity that I'm stewarding throughout the I-90. From May 4th to May 10th, it is National Small Business Week that happens every year. But I do not think that upstate New York, we celebrate it as we should, right? In Rochester, there are 12 entrepreneur support organizations collaborating to put on a week-long series of events, 9 events in total, and it's for our small businesses. So if you're a small business and you're having issues with access to capital, trying to figure out how do I build back-end infrastructure, how do I make the connections that I don't have, that's who it's really for. And so all our entrepreneur support organizations came together. It's going to be a great week, and I'm looking forward to it.
May 4th through 10th, where can I find more information about that?
Oh, yeah. So we're actually going to launch a landing page on Monday called nsbwrock.com, and I will make sure to...
nsbwrock.com.
Yes, sir.
Okay, National Small Business Week is the acronym for that.
Yes, sir.
May 4th through 10th. So is it like a la carte? Do you have to go every day, or how do you access that?
Got you. So you'll be able to actually sign up on the landing page and select the event that you want to attend and register. And that's all you have to do. It's completely free to all attendees.
Ooh, that's very good. Last thing you want to say?
I would say this past year has taught me the importance of stepping outside of your comfort zone. So to anybody who is pursuing their own business, or even an entrepreneur at a business, step outside of your comfort zone. Do the thing that you feel scared to do, and you'd be surprised the amazing things that could happen for you.
All right, and he's got a pin on that says what?
Thank you for buying black.
Talk to me about that.
Oh, yeah. So collaborating with local entrepreneurs. This is a local entrepreneur named Michael Wade. And Thank You for Buying Black is his business where he collaborates and promotes other small Black-owned businesses that sell products and services. So he does collaborative partnerships, and so I have to collaborate myself and make sure it's seen.
The key to building wealth in our community. George Kilpatrick, Inspiration for the Nation, with Ryan Williams, CEO, President, RAW Consulting. People we feel good about. Inspiration for the Nation.